Dr. Tasleem Rahmani, President, Muslim Political Council of India. I am Mumtaz Alam Flahi, New Delhi correspondent to Circus.net. Last week, the autopsy report of Batla House encounter has been brought into public domain by RTI activist Afroz Alam Sahil, and the report was first time published by Circus.net. In the light of this autopsy report, as a Muslim community leader, what is your fresh demand?
No, the demand is not fresh. It's just as old. We wanted judicial probe, and still we want a judicial probe. Number one. Number two, the judicial process. A case should be registered, a case of murder should be registered on the community initiative. It should not be waited that the father or the kins of the murdered martyrs should come forward to lodge a complaint and a case. Rather, the community should be allowed to lodge an FIR against the police, and this whole case should be cross-examined by the court. This is what we demand, because whatever we said and whatever we felt, whatever the whole community, whatever the whole people who believe in justice and secular and democratic beliefs, they all said unanimously that this is a fake and cold-blooded murder of those innocent boys. And this autopsy report has cleared those doubts once again. At the same time, the question arises about the RTI. RTI was a hope, a ray of hope rather, for all the peace-loving and just-loving forces of the country, that the government will be transparent through this RTI. But in this particular case, the appellate court and the other authorities took more than 1.5 years to release that autopsy report, which is in normal course, which can be released within 24 to 48 hours. It took more than 1.5 hours. Itself, this indicates that there is something fishy, there is something black in the bottom. And again, this proves our case that this is a cold-blooded murder of our youth.
Right. The genuineness of Batla House encounter has been contested and questioned since the day one by the rights activists and Muslim organizations as well. But notwithstanding, the government, the authority, the court, the NHRC have not allowed any judicial probe. What could be the reason?
Reason is very clear. The reason is that this is not an encounter at all. This is a pre-planned murder. This is a conspiracy. This is an order followed by the government. Order of some people who are interested in India, who want a particular community to be marginalized at the name of terrorism. They wanted to prove their case, and they use the government machinery. We are always saying since day one that Mossad, FBI and Indian IB, this trio has joined hands to make us marginalized and to blame us falsely that we or our boys are terrorists, while we believe that none of us, and I always said and I insist that even one of the boys cannot be proved that they are involved in any act of terrorism, and the government is at any cost is demned upon to prove that the Muslims are the terrorists, and we contest that claim. And that's why whenever we demanded the probe of Malegaon blast for 4 years. For 4 years it could not be proved. But after 4 years, after before this 26/11, the so-called terrorist attack, before that Hemant Karkare has unearthed that conspiracy, and it is known that whatever we were saying was right. And there are some Hindu fanatic organizations who are working on behest of these FBI and Mossad, and they are planting the terror attacks all over the country. The recent attack in Pune is another example of those attacks. The Cheti Singhpura was example of those attacks. The parliamentary attack was an example of those attacks. The Lal Killa shootout was the example of those attacks, and they committed all these. And so we demand that each and every activity which has been blamed for we are blamed for should be probed and should be told to the pupil that who are behind them.
Right. So far, the governments have turned deaf ear to all the demands of the community and human rights activists and all those who believe in justice and peace. Their demand for judicial probe into the Batla House encounter. So now, in the light of this fresh autopsy report, what could be the strategy of this Muslim community and its leaders to force the government to once again order probe into the encounter?
See, we are living in a democracy, and the country is governed by a rule which is called the rule of law or our constitution. Constitution has taken a back seat. Still, we hope in democracy, and we should return to our democratic rights. In every democracy, the pressure tactics works. Whether that pressure is through the mass mobilization, through the vote, electoral process, and through the protest march, etc. We are organizing so many dharnas, sit-in, protest march, etc., etc. But that nothing worked in this direction, in a positive manner. So today itself, there was a sit-in at Batla, at this Tikona Park by the SIU boys, and I said to those boys that this is not enough anymore. We should now start a jail baro andolan, or we should court arrest in thousands of numbers to protest and to press for this demand, and until unless whole of the country does not stand for this demand or for such demand, this scenario will not change. It is becoming worse day by day, it's getting worse, and the country has been ransacked by those westernal imperialistic forces who has a grab on our government, and the government is not working for the people, it's working for those imperialistic forces who have their interest in it.
So then when are you community leaders going to give this call for jail baro andolan?
Maybe the second week of April, when the house will resume for the budget session, we are planning to organize some big protest and a court arrest session from our own boys and leaders in thousands of number. And all the state capitals, we want to organize such jail baro andolan, etc.
Thank you very much.
So welcome.